Hey, it's Tina Forsyth here. I want to share this concept with you, the 4 levels of delegation. Now, I'm not sure exactly who to attribute this to. I've seen it shared by different people in slightly different ways and such, but the fundamental 4 levels of delegation themselves are just, it can be so insightful and empowering when it comes to building our teams and building these relationships with members on our teams. I'll share the 4 levels with you here in a moment, but as I'm sharing this, you might even want to grab a notepad to make note of these 4 different levels as I'm sharing with you. And looking through the lens of how is this applying to you? And in particular, if and where there's friction and frustration, I'll give a couple examples of that as well, how it might be helpful to look through the lens of these 4 levels and how you're working with your team. So level 1 of delegation is the do it my way level of delegation. This is where you have established processes, procedures, you know what works, and you want someone on the team, you want the person in that role to just plug in and get things done that way. You're not asking them to make decisions. You're asking them to take ownership of completion and just making sure that things are getting done based on what's already working, right? So that's level 1 of delegation, is do it my way. Level 2 is the make recommendations level of delegation. And this is where either there's something brand new that needs to be done, you don't have a way, an established way or process to get it done yet. So you're asking a person on your team to go do some research based on their own experience. What are some options? What are they going to recommend to you, right? And then you, though, in this level, you're still making the decision as to which option you're going to go with. So this person can come to you with some options based on research, experience, etc., but it's still up to you as the leader to say, all right, let's go with option number 2, right? Based on what you've shared with me, let's go with option number 2. That's the make recommendations level of delegation. Level 3 is the keep me posted level of delegation. And so this is taking you out of the decision-making piece even a little bit more, right? So they're out there, they're looking at, making improvements or new tasks, projects to work on. They're making decisions of the best way to get it done, to meet established, criteria and deliverables and goals, of course. And you're not deciding the best way to get things done. They get to decide that, but you just still want to be kept in the loop, right? Like, keep me posted. What are you doing? How are you thinking about this? All right, yes, I want to be kept in the loop around this. That's the level 3, keep me posted level of delegation. And level 4 is on your own, full on ownership, right? They're out there, they're making decisions, they're getting stuff done, they're moving things forward. And you just, unless if there's a problem, you don't need to be kept in the loop. It's like, hey, if something's going wrong or you're stuck or whatever it is, let me know. But they're not having to come to you for decisions. They're not having to keep you in the loop as much as they would in the 3rd level of delegation. They're not having to come and ask you the best way to do things, right? They're just on their own, full ownership of getting things done. Now, when I think about some of the common frustrations and scenarios that I will hear from business owners and from the team members that you're hiring, when I look through this lens of the 4 levels, we can see where and how some frustrations really might come into play. I mean, essentially, if you're looking at the role through one of the levels and your team member is looking at the role through another level, that's going to cause a problem. Like, let's say you are hiring a team member, the extreme version of it, right? You're hiring a team member to take full-on ownership, get this done, make decisions, move forward, just let me know if there's a problem. But they're coming in the I want to do it your way, the perspective of delegation. They're waiting for you to tell them the best way to do it, to lay out the process, to give them the instruction so that they can just follow it and make sure it's getting done the right way. Those are 2 very extreme, opposite ways to be approaching something, right? And of course, as you can imagine, maybe some of you have experienced, that's a high level of frustration. You're sitting there thinking, why won't they take ownership? Why won't they move forward? Why won't they just get things done? And they're sitting there thinking, I don't know what they want me to do here. I'm not sure how to approach this. I'm waiting for them to tell me, all kinds of frustration can happen there. Or maybe you're expecting them I'm kind of flipping that around a little bit too. Another scenario I'll see quite often is you have established processes and procedures. You have a do it my way already laid out in the business. So you're looking for someone to come in and just do it your way, follow those established procedures and get it done in the way that you know works. But then they're coming in through that make recommendations perspective, right? And they're coming in and they're thinking, oh, maybe there's a better way to do this, or there might be a different way. They're looking through the lens of improvement. They're thinking about, what are the various options and such here. So then they're coming to you and saying, hey, maybe instead of doing it this way, we could do it this way instead. Or have you ever thought about this? Or have you ever thought about that? And you're sitting there thinking, just do it my way, right? Like, I already know what works. We don't necessarily need to look at other options right now. Again, there's frustration that happens there, right? Because of course it's a beautiful and very wonderful and proactive thing for someone to show up and say, hey, maybe we need to do this differently or make recommendations and so on. But if that's not what you and the business need in that role right now, then that can actually get in the way of things, right? Or even too, this is one I know that's come up for me over the years, or that came up for me when I was really getting to understand this concept, where I was like, oh, ding, ding, ding. Yes, I haven't really thought of it this way before, where that level 3 of being kept in the loop, right? You might have an amazing team. They're doing great work. They're taking full ownership of everything, but they're not keeping you in the loop of stuff, right? And so, for your own peace of mind, it might be a matter of like, I just want to know what's going on. I want to know what's getting done. I want to make sure things are happening. That's that level 3 piece of like, keep me in the loop, keep me posted with everything that's going on. And I know, from my own personal experience too, that's just a peace of mind thing, right? Like if I don't feel like I always know the status of things and where things are at and what's going on, then that's where I might have one of those moments of like, is anything getting done? And then of course it's 9.9 times out of 10, it's always getting done, but I didn't know about it. So again, it can cause this friction and frustration. And likewise, if you're wanting to be kept in the loop around things, but you have a team member who's thinking, hey, I'm just getting stuff done. Like, why do you need me to be constantly keeping you in the loop or updating? That again is another area of frustration. I mean, all of this to say that it's really important that you and your team members are on the same page. And this really does start with you taking a look at all the roles in your business, all the people on the team, through this lens of what level of delegation am I looking for here? What level of delegation do we need? Right? Like, because as your business grows and expands over time, you're going to need different things. You're going to need all 4 of those levels over time, right? But the clarity of, hey, we really need somebody, like we need a good strong VA to plug in and just have a do it my way, make sure stuff's getting done. We've got everything established and laid out. Great. That's, that can be that's a very common need for most online businesses out there, of course, too. But to take a look, what with each person, each level on the team, what level of delegation are we looking for here? And am I on the same page as the team member, right? Are we on the same page as to what this means here? And if need be, of course, there might be some conversations to be had as you're hiring into the future as well, too, to give some of that consideration and to really make sure that the person you're hiring and bringing on board is going to be able to operate very well within that level of delegation, and that you're leading them to operate within that level of delegation as well, too. Your leadership has a lot to do with that, actually. You can very effectively lead people into or out of some of these different levels of delegation without even realizing that we're doing it. So I would love to hear your thoughts on this concept. Again, I know for me, when I first heard this, I was like, ooh, yes, it really made a lot of sense and gave another lens to look at things through. So by all means, would love to hear what, jumps out for you in this concept, and maybe how or where you might approach things differently or have some cool and interesting conversations with the folks that are on your team around this. All right, it's Tina Forsyth here. Until next time, take care. Bye now.